is, you know me, that's my first guy I would take. Offensive line. He the first guy on my board. You know what I'm saying? Wyatt Millum. You know, I got Tyler Booker maybe ahead of Wyatt Millum. To me, I think Tyler Booker for me is more upside. We can get into it. I mean, we don't really have to say it all. We know what we kind of want to do. You know what I'm saying? I think the our listeners, man, are gonna really like this, as I think this is what we love, man. You know what I'm saying? I love, talking about the players, and you know, so like I said, I got everything in front of me. Walt, you know what I'm saying? When you ready, I can expound on, whoever you want to talk about, you know what I'm saying, and vice
Oh, no,
versa.
I'm man. Listen, we playing off each other. We
Mhm.
live right now, of course, but yeah, we playing off each other. We playing off our listeners as well.
Yeah.
For the two people who just joined us so far already,
Yeah. What's up,
we're gonna,
Super Random?
yep,
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and get into the mock draft itself. Probably 20 to 30 minutes into the show. Um, give the subscribers, give the listener section the opportunity to really build up, because I know everybody's gonna have their views and opinions on this tonight, but we think y'all gonna have a lot of fun with this, man. Me and this man both put a lot of thought into this entire process. We've been building this up for this with the past 6, 7 months, for that matter. And like I said, we think you guys are gonna really enjoy it tonight. And ladies, if you're watching, and like I said, don't hesitate to let us know exactly how y'all feel in the comment section about these picks or whatnot tonight. Just tonight, because this is the first installment. This is mock draft 1.0, but tonight we'll be doing it with the process of rotating each round, or rotating each pick for that matter, because we do have 3 picks in the 7th round. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But I'll start first this time, and then he'll take it off there from me, and so on and so on. And then probably with 2.0, he'll take the first round, and then I'll follow his lead, so on and so on. So, but all right, so let's get into these this draft talk in general right now. So I want to start with the offensive line,
Yeah.
mainly because everybody knows the defense has been like a very, very red button topic around this town, mainly since the middle of the season. Pretty much once Davenport got hurt, then Aiden went down, and then everything kind of spiraled out of control. But we all know defense is a need on this team. But as you and I both had discussed, this is a team that is
Yeah.
strange, because for a 15-win team, they got a lot of needs.
Yeah. What's up, Ralph? Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they got a lot of needs. You're talking about, you and I are both in agreement that the cornerback room is still kind of poultry. You still lack that guy. You got a bunch of number twos who are good number twos, maybe if they're next to a good number one, but we don't have a good number one for that matter. We got 2 elite safeties. After those 2 elite safeties and Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, there's not much after that.
Yeah.
You go
Yep.
to the linebacker position, you got Alexander Zaloni and you got Jack Campbell. They
Yep.
brought Derek Barnes back, but so to speak, there's not too much after that. You look at the defense line, you got Makai Wingo that you took later in the draft last year. Broderick Martin, who's going on year 3, is a good chance he probably won't even make the team, won't even make it out of camp. And Liam McNeil's coming back from injury. He's not expected to be back until October. You got Aiden Hutchinson, of course. Everyone around here knows the injury he's dealing with.
Yeah.
The fact that this team won 15 games, played as well as they played defensively, but could not get after the quarterback for shit.
Yeah.
That's what's strange about the. Well, there was a few strange things about this team in regards to why they couldn't get as far as we ultimately thought they would get. But you know, we're gonna start with the offensive line though,
Hmm.
because I did just bring in the
Yeah.
defense. But so the offensive line, man, Panay Sewell, rock solid.
Yeah.
Hasn't even really touched his prime. People forget the year he came out. I believe he was the youngest, if not the second youngest player in that entire draft. And this dude is already elite at his position.
Yeah.
That's something we don't have to worry about, whether people feel like he's better at left tackle moving forward, or he's going to be a right tackle the rest of his career. Because a lot of people felt Lane Johnson Coming out of college, Lane Johnson would have been a left tackle. He went to the Eagles. The Eagles plugged him at right tackle. Dude's been the best right tackle, or one of the best right tackles in football his entire career. But once you move past Penei Sewell, you're talking about Frank Ragnow, who is a damn good player, but Frank is also getting a little long in the tooth. He's also dealing with his own injuries that are starting to stack up at this point in time in his career. We lost Kevin Zeitler in free agency to Tennessee. Graham Glasgow, I don't know how confident you can really be in him. You and I both are in agreement that Graham is more so a rotational guy at best. He may have a good Saturday or something. Not Saturday. Well, yeah, some games during the week. Well, once the season starts to unfold, but whether it's a Thursday night game, a Sunday night game, a Monday night game, or whatever, he could have a decent game. But for the most part, when you look at the quality of athletes in the league right now, we talk about the defensive line consistently. Graham, for the most part, looks overwhelmed on the Sunday to Sunday basis. I like having him around. I want to keep him around, but I just don't want him to be one of the main guys we lean on consistently. Christian Mahogany, we have high hopes for him. Once he was finally able to get himself together, get on the field and played, he looked pretty promising. He looked like the
Yep.
guy you and I both felt coming out of Boston College could be a part of this team moving forward. Now, I think the elephant in the room is that left tackle position with Taylor Decker. They did give Decker the new contract. Was it last offseason they gave it to him?
Was it two?
Or
Was it
2 off
years
seasons ago?
Yeah, 2 off seasons ago. Yeah, Taylor Decker.
Yeah, was it a 1 year or 2 year? It was
I think
either
it was
1
like
or
an
2 year
extension type. Yeah, like couple years.
Taylor's another guy, really good player. I think he's past his prime a little bit. Nothing wrong in saying that. Nothing wrong in feeling that. I think there's some hard questions to answer for this team right now along the offensive line, because you don't want to just keep waiting around until the bottom completely falls out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you left with just Penei Sewell and a bunch of journeymen, a bunch of raggedy ass late round picks, because it's not that easy to get a good offensive line. The Eagles worked hard at drafting and getting guys in free agency over there and grooming guys to become a solid offensive line. The Chiefs for years had them. The Chiefs invested a lot of money in that offensive line too. You look at the Dallas Cowboys when they were really good. It was because of an offensive line. The Patriots always built the offensive line.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's a strength, man. One. Yeah.
And as important as the defense is, I can make the argument that when I look at the offensive line, where my mind frame is right now, we got some pillars on defense. We got 2 all-pro caliber safeties. We got an all-pro caliber edge rusher who's hurt right now. We got a Pro Bowl caliber defensive tackle. We got Jack Campbell, who's a budding star in this league. We got Alex Anzalone, who turned out to be a pretty good finding in free agency. We brought him in. That offensive line, man, and for us to lean so much on, well, at least having to lean so much on Jared Goff moving forward, we can't afford for that offensive line to be in a situation where the bottom falls out and we just left looking slack jawed, because
that's facts.
If he's not mobile, there's not much really dynamic about him. He can't really make much happen on his own. He needs damn near perfect offensive line play every week. And if you look at it for what it is, if things did go south with this offensive line, now you're in a situation where it could take another 2, 3, 4 years before you finally get everything together. This draft right here, this is why I'm so adamant in the way I feel in regards to how Brad Holmes has handled free agency so far. I kind of wanted him to take care of defense, not necessarily go out and get a bunch of big name players, but I wanted him to get some NFL legit acquisitions in free agency, so that way we could go into this draft and fix our offensive line. Yeah. Because my thinking, my train of thought for all of this was, we would go into the draft, we would get us a pure guard, we'll get us a nice swing guy like Gray Zabel, somebody that can play center, tackle, and guard, and then maybe get us a developmental tackle later on in the draft. See, I'm thinking about getting the offensive line out of the way for the next 6, 7, 8 years. So that way, all we got to worry about if B is finding a new quarterback. If it came to that in another 2 or 3 years, we hope it doesn't. But if it comes to that, the offensive line is already in place. The running back room is in place.
Yeah.
And mainly offensively, all we'll be worrying about is finding another 2, maybe 3 wide receivers or another wide receiver and a tight end. I think we got more pillars on defense, honestly.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
2 safeties, edge rusher, Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell, who's a potential star moving forward. But like I said, I'm with it. At
Yeah.
28, whether it all depends on how everything falls, whether it's a guard, a tackle, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver, if they came to that, safety, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead and take
I
it, man.
wish.
I'm done rambling.
No, no, no. Absolutely. Well taken. I was just gonna say one before we get started. It's a couple guards here. That's later on. I'm not talking about the main guys. We'll get into the main guys here at the top of the draft. At guard, left guard, Garrett Dillinger. It's a guy I've been looking at later on in the draft. I think he could be had. This guy here ran 40-yard dash walk, 5 seconds flat. This guy can play, man. He is there. He's 6'4", 325 pounds, exclusive left guard, man, from LSU. Did this kid, play with Miles Frazier and Emory Jones, you know what I'm saying? So this is a really good get, man. We can get this kid, man, later on. Just think about, like you said, I'm with you, get high-end talent at the top of the draft, but I would take maybe another guard like him, developmental later round. You can get him, you know what I'm saying? Another guy that and you brought him to my attention like early. You might not even remember, like earlier in the year was Chase Lund from UConn, man. And he's for 2 years he's been on the radar. That whoever gets him, he's 6'8", 380. Oh, sorry, 305 pounds, man. He ran a 5'4", not the fastest guy in the world, but I can work with that. You know what I'm saying? Got good hands. Went to the Senior Bowl. Just flat out, just be mean and play his ass off. That's another guy, man. Chase Lund from UConn, Garrett Dellinger from LSU. Those are two guys that later on in the draft, man. If you tell me we can parlay one of these two guys later on in the draft, man, get Chase Lund would be a steal walk past the 5th round or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Which we know Brad Holmes got a knack for getting, a late round developmental player. I'll be totally, and I think he's went defense the last couple years. I'm sorry, no, he didn't. He went Mano last year. He went Broderick Martin a couple years ago. So he's been flip flopping on what side of the ball he's been going with the developmental player. But hey, like you said, that offensive line, man, has to be rock solid. Just what Super Random just said. You need everything's got to work up front, because if the minute it's cracks in the armor, Goff is not as effective. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with saying that about Goff. I mean, he's got to have everything perfect. He's not a guy that's going to put the team on his shoulders, throw the ball 55 times and throw for 475 and 5 touchdowns. He's just not that kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? He could do it within the realm of the game plan of the scheme, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think he's a guy that'll put the team on his back. And there's no harm in saying that, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm gonna just make sure that offensive line wall is as strong as possible. And people, and the worst thing I think about Lions fans is they think year by year, these guys are still going to be at the same level sometimes. And yeah, obviously, a guy like Jameson Williams, Jameer Gibbs, those guys, St. Brown, you don't have to worry about those guys. Those guys will produce, you know what I'm saying? Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. But when you get to the offensive lineman, listen, Taylor Decker's had a heck of a career, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's, not saying his career is over by any stretch of the imagination, but we do need a Tyler Booker at 28. I mean, I would totally be comfortable taking Tyler Booker and moving forward with my offensive line. The kid from Arizona, Jonah Savania. Yeah, Tyler Booker. That's him, man. Who would want this kid, man? 6'5", 325 pounds. Yeah, he's got some tooling. Obviously, you got to work with him. He need to move his hips a little bit better, I think. size and power, man. That's what I'm looking at. This kid is big and strong, violent as hell. Just what you said, Walt. 20 years old. I mean, he's somebody with the right offensive line. Who wouldn't want to learn from Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow? You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
Like you
20
said, Chris,
years old. 20
20
only
years
20
old.
years old with 37 games played at Alabama.
Yeah, this kid ready to pile
Yeah.
drive somebody, man, on that offensive line,
Very,
man.
very high ceiling, man. Very
Yeah,
high
I
ceiling.
don't think he's gonna be there, but man, I like you said, I wouldn't even be upset if we traded up to get the kid. I think he's that good. I think his ceiling is that high. I would, the only way I wouldn't want to take an edge rusher, which everybody knows that's the most glaring need of this team, but I wouldn't be upset at all, Walt, to get a kid like him to just solidify this offensive line, because that's what we need. I mean, this is what, think about it, Walt. The Chicago Bears totally upgraded their defensive line. The Vikings did as such, getting Jonathan Allen. They already got some guys they already had, was giving us fits. The Green Bay Packers, same thing. They bolstered up their defensive line the last couple of years. So you want a nice young talent, Tyler Booker. I think he's one of probably 6 guys in this draft that you could come in and start right away. You know what I'm saying? Even though he needs to be polished a little bit, but I think a training camp and a preseason, Tyler Booker be ready to go, man. He's that physical and strong. He's exactly what this team needs. If you tell me I'd rather have him over Glasgow, I'm not throwing shots at Glasgow, but it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? So they got one spot on their offensive line, I think, to go into the next season, because I would assume, like you said, that Christian Mahogany's he's gonna start. I mean, Christian Mahogany, everybody like what they seen out of him. So Tyler Booker, man, he's the guy. Josh Connolly's another guy. We talked about Gray Zabel. Um, the Savania, the kid from Arizona. He's another kid that I would take at this point. So
I
yeah,
got your
man.
other boy too, was it Wyatt
Yeah,
Millum.
Wyatt Millum, from West Virginia. The kid didn't let up. He didn't give in. He hasn't let in a sack in like 2 years. Yeah, 0 sack the past 3 seasons. Excuse me. I think Wyatt's more like I think him and Zabel can play outside. Like, right, you can maybe put him at right tackle. I don't know. The only thing about Millum is I think he's better in the passing game. So I think he
Yeah.
may struggle on the inside a little bit. I love Wyatt Millum though, what he brings, but I don't know if he fits what the Lions are doing, like, what I'm saying, scheme wise, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Wyatt Millum is one of my guys too, man. So yeah, well, you can take it away. You know, if you want to get started in the draft, you want to expound on some other guys. You mentioned, so before you take it away, you did mention safety. It was a couple guys here. I was thinking of another Bama kid who played great. Malachi Moore is a guy
Yeah,
I'm looking
Malachi
at.
Moore.
Yep, 6 foot, 201 pounds. He ran a 4.5. He's one guy you might want to look at as safety. I like Lathan Ransom too from Ohio State. He's kind of got some, but my main guy, the number one guy, I think, better than Watts from Notre Dame, better than Georgia Malachi Starr. I like Makuba, man, from Texas. I like all them Texas boys. Them boys be balling, man. 6 foot, 4 foot. He's a little bit undersized, but he's sort of like in a Brian Branch, clone. You might want to take a look at him, but I think Makuba might not be there past the second or third round. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a day 2 pick, I think, but I really like him too. So
Yeah, absolutely. I cracked a smile a little bit when you mentioned Andrew Makuba, because that's my guy, man.
uh-huh,
That's my guy. That's my guy.
uh-huh,
Transfer from Clemson. I'm gonna get into him in a minute,
yeah,
but yeah, Alex, I agree with everything you just said, man. The players, you and I have been locked in with each other as far as the offensive lineman for the past 2 months, for the most part. I
yeah,
think another guy, matter of fact, in Miles Frazier from LSU, a
yeah,
guy who went to the Senior Bowl and helped himself tremendously, showed them that he was able to play inside at guard at either position as well as tackle,
Yeah.
and can
Yep.
play a little bit center if you need to. Um, Ton of experience coming out of LSU. Like I said, got it right there, right tackle as far as right guard versatility.
Yeah.
Outstanding Senior Bowl week of practice. Very high IQ guard that handles blitzes and stunts.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, handling blitzes and stunts in this day and age in the NFL,
Vital. Yeah.
if you can't handle
Hmm.
blitzes and stunts as a center or a guard, you're gonna get ran over, you're gonna get railroaded, and you can be out of the league. And that takes a very high IQ guard and center for that matter to be able to handle those things. That's why nowadays in the NFL, they want these centers to come into the league with guard experience, guards to have center experience, and so on the interior, because the center and guard position is so locked in with each other now. You
Yeah.
know, you're pretty much joined at the hip. If you think tackles and guards are joined at the hip, that ain't really true like that. And if your guard is joined at the hip with the tackle, that means your tackle pretty much ain't worth a damn.
Yeah.
Your tackle needs that's why the tackles make the big
Yes.
money. They
I
expected
agree.
to be on the island out there just like corners
I agree,
and
Lamar.
and handle these people. So like I said,
Hmm.
impressive mobility and space for his size. Another 6'5", 325.
Yeah.
Anchors well in pass pro, tough to move off the line, patience, technique, fundamentals. So, yeah, he's
Yeah.
another guy. Like another guy I want to get into real quick before I get into my big board is Charles Grant of
Yeah. That's
William
your
and
guy.
Mary. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure. Yep, I'm pretty sure Brad Holmes and his organization knows all about Charles Grant. He played with Kobe Sorsdahl for a good 3 years at William and Mary. This guy's 6'4", 300 pounds. I'm thinking he's probably closer to 310 now.
Hmm.
Elite mobility and space. This is a dude who damn near looks like a tight end when he gets out in space, when they get out and pull him. They
Yeah.
used him versatility wise a lot at William and Mary as far as anchoring their run game behind him. Pass block wise, of course, I don't know if he was just so much better than everybody at that level of competition
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
he just made it look as easy as it was. But he was obviously in all 4 games I saw from him because I only was able to track down 40 games worth of tape on him. He was the best player on the football field, period.
Yeah.
Now that
That's right.
sounds bad because you're talking about an offensive tackle looking like the best player on the football field for both teams in 4 different games, but him being from William and Mary, and I talked about this a few months ago, is there going to be a team because from a talent standpoint, I think he's a late first round pick just from a pure talent pass pro standpoint,
Yeah.
but he's going to have the question marks of the arm length. Also, 6'4", 300, 6'4", 308.
Yeah.
Is he better suited to play inside? Because when they see the 6'4", they tend to get a little scared of it. They want their tackle 6'5" and a half, 6'6", borderline maybe 6'7" at the tallest. But when you look at the talent, the raw talent he is, but as polished as he looked against that competition, do you want to take a chance on him late first round? I'm not sure if these organizations are really ready to take an offensive guard or lineman in general from William and Mary in the first round. I don't see him lasting past the second round though. I can see a team once there becomes a heavy run on these tackles.
Yeah.
That's when you're gonna start seeing the
Yep.
late second group, the third group, and the fourth group start to get pushed up. I don't see him getting out of the second round. Maybe a early third possible,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think he's too talented overall for teams to just keep passing on because of a school that he played at.
Yeah.
But oh, go ahead.
No, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't cutting you off. I was agreeing with everything you said. I think, like you said, he don't get past the second round, man. I think that's why I brought up those other 2 guys on my board. You know, Dillinger and Chase Lund, because I think it may be slim pickings after Grant, after people like whiff on all the offensive linemen. It's like you said, we see it every draft. It's either a run on offensive linemen real quick, or it's a run on corners real quick. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like when the top 5 guys go, then after that, you know what I'm saying, you reaching after that. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. So I think, like you said, you know, um, and just with Avery, what's up, Avery? Kind of agree, man. Like to come away with a start like a guard, man. I have Mahogany and Miles Frazier would be that would be like unfair. That's what I want. That's what you want. Just imagine, Walt, if we just had an offensive line of Sewell, Mahogany, Ragnow. We're just inserting in Miles Frazier. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say we pick him and Taylor Decker. I mean, that's pretty good if you ask me. And we're ready to go against any front that comes at it. I just want to be prepared, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't want to be like ill prepared for anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be like at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? Like it was clear in the Washington game that we was first of all the injuries. Yes, I mean obviously how many times we gonna keep beating the dead horse. Yes, we had the injuries, but the fact of the matter is, I think they were way more physical than we were. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I believe that. I believe our offensive line tattered and battered. However you want to slice it, they got outplayed, man. I think Jared Goff was kind of like, kind of shell shocked a little bit, throwing interceptions, rushing the ball, rightfully so because the offensive line didn't hold up. The offensive line didn't play good, in my opinion, the last month of the season, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? So, and you referenced the Texans game. That was a game, that was a problem. We got away with it because we ultimately were the better team. But um, so for me, just like Avery said it again, you have to get some starters out of this draft, man. That's the only thing I was kind of like in my feelings like 2 weeks ago because I'm like, we have to get some starters, man. Let's stop with the project kids, man. I can see doing that, obviously. And I think Greg, a friend of ours, Greg Rice, said the same thing. It's hard to get starters in the draft. It really is. It is hard to get starters, but what you can do is, man, at least a guy who's got it, who doesn't. I mean, in my opinion, just off the tape, you can say, "Damn, we put him in our scheme, and he'll pretty much flourish." That type of thing. Just don't get a guy who doesn't do anything well at all. You know what I'm saying? That you can't cover. If you're a cornerback, you don't do. First of all, you undersized, right? You handsy as hell. That's a bad translation in
You
NFL.
don't want another Rudy?
Nah, man, nah. We got enough guys like that. So we good, man.
Hey man, y'all love Malcolm Rodriguez, though.
Yeah. I mean, Rodriguez is a
We don't
guy.
want a
Yeah,
team full of them,
yeah, exactly. There we go.
though.
You know what I'm saying? So you know where my head at, man.
Nah, I
But the
got
draft.
you, man.
Listen, this is the part I love about like doing this show. You know what I'm saying? As we get into these guys, because a lot of people just pick up where you like a lot of people that soon as that Washington game was over, they turned the TV off, right? And just like, well, I'll tune in September. You know what I'm saying? Call me the first Thursday in September when we play the Eagles. I'm putting it out there for the NFL, by the way. Call me week one, opening night against the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fans, are those kind of fans. But we know our listeners, the people we talk to in our circle, stuff like that, knows that this is another part of the evaluation. This is where it starts. You know what I'm saying? This is where your team gets better right now. You know what I'm saying? We went through a free agency. And now, here we are on the heels of the draft coming up here. So oh yeah, Izarako, I love him. I would love Rowdy Trey. I would. He's one of my guys that I, he was on my. I didn't have him on my board, but he damn sure on my radar. I mean, I love the kid. I think that long arms. He does play the run really well. I think that's another hidden art these days. But just putting these kids out there and just go get the quarterback. It's something special when you got a kid that could rush the quarterback and help support the run. I think what's your guy from Texas A&M? I think Shamar Stewart is like that too as well, where he could step up and make a tackle, shed a block and get a guy from behind. You know what I'm saying? I love Izuruku. I'm sorry, I know I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing his name wrong, but I like
We
the kid.
gonna
I
pronounce a
wouldn't
lot of
I
names
wouldn't be
wrong.
upset.
We gonna
Yeah,
pronounce a
if
lot of
he's
names
there at
wrong.
28 and we took him, well, I wouldn't be upset at all. If we didn't take a lineman and we took him, I wouldn't be upset. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the upside is there big time. You know what I'm saying? Now I wouldn't reach. Let's just say we traded up 5 spots to get him or 6 spots. I'll be like, what the hell are you doing? You don't have to do that to get this kid. Like, I don't think
Right.
you don't have to trade up to get him. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
Can y'all hear me?
Now, what the $1 million question is? Let me ask you this: What if
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, just making sure because my mic kept going in and out.
What the
You
million
all
dollar
good?
question is? Would you rather? What if him and James Pierce on the board at 28? Would you pick who would you pick over those two?
Personally, I would take James Pierce.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I would too.
Um.
That's a dread. That's a pipe dream. That my favorite guy is two guys that I would pick at 28 before we get into it. It would be Pierce and Gray Zabel. Those are the two guys I wouldn't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's just say it would be real interesting. Both of them was there. Then who would you take? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean? With me, would you take Gray Zabel or would you take James Pierce? If I had a choice, just because it's a deeper offensive line that I think we can get more bang for our buck, I'm gonna take James Pierce over Gary Zabel if it came down to it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I mean, the the overall value of having the edge rusher, a very talented edge rusher at that,
mhm,
just weighs more over the tackle. I think right now because it's
yeah,
even though Gray Zabel's more than just a tackle. He's a left tackle. He's a right tackle.
yeah,
He plays center at North Dakota State. He
yeah,
played both guard positions. He went to the Senior Bowl. He played all 5 positions for NFL teams and played all 5 positions very well at the Senior Bowl. He helped himself tremendously, but it's hard to give up on the edge rusher when you got an edge rusher staring you right in the face.
yeah,
Gray Zabel can be a hell of a player, but if James Pierce, if they both go on to be really good players in the NFL, he's just going to outrank him. That's just how it is. If James Pierce goes on to be the next TJ Watt, nobody's going nobody's going to care if we got Gray Zabel and Gray Zabel turns out to be a solid guard. And I
yeah.
love Gray Zabel.
Me too.
Love Gray
Yeah,
Zabel, but I think when it comes to that type of situation, you got to go ahead and swing for the fences. Because talent like him at edge rusher, you talking about 6'5", 247 pounds that ran a 4.4 flat
yeah,
or what a 4.39 or something. James
yes,
Pierce ran at the combine.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah,
So we talked about the off the field stuff. That's neither here nor there. I don't know nothing about that. I try not to get involved in that. That's all to me. He say, she say. There's no proof behind it. It's always unnamed sources. So for me, it's just a bunch of BS until something concrete actually comes out, a police report or something. Somebody says something on camera about a player. But
yeah.
I want to get
And
into my big board real quick,
yeah, go ahead. Yep, that's all.
and we gonna flash into yours too because we didn't went through the first 33 minutes. So I don't have none of these players in any specific order at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're just some of my favorite players in this draft overall and players that I would link to Detroit. I want to start with the first guy on this list, man, Mike Green, edge rusher, Marshall. I think he's a very hot topic player, prospect around this town right now. I like Mike Green as a weapon. You can't ignore the pass rushes. You can't ignore the pass rush win rate. You can't ignore the hurries. You can't ignore the QB hits. My thing with Mike Green, and it's nothing against Mike Green at all. It goes back to not knowing exactly what type of defense we're gonna be playing this season. Um, did the 4-2-5 predominantly walk out the door when Aaron Glenn walked out? Also, Kelvin Shepard being named defensive coordinator, a former linebacker himself, is well known that players, when they become coordinators or head coaches, whatever, mainly coordinators, especially when it's on their side of the football that they play, they tend to favor and gravitate towards their old position. That's why I was telling someone a few days ago, it wouldn't surprise me if they ended up drafting a linebacker early. Not necessarily at 28, could be at 60, or it could be at 28. But
Mhm.
Kelvin Shepard, a former linebacker, most players value their position when they become coordinators.
There we go. Yep.
You
Yep.
know, and when you look at Mike Green of Marshall, I love Mike Green as a prospect.
Yep. Me too.
But are we gonna play any 3-4 this year? And I mean, if you're gonna stay with the 4-2-5, you have the pieces already. You can add a few more pieces from a scheme standpoint, where you can play more 4-4 fronts, and then you can work a guy like Mike Green
Excuse
in
me.
there. You can have two big defensive tackles, the prototypical three technique with the nose and DJ Reader. And then when
Mhm.
you get a guy like Aiden Hutchinson back and Liam McNeil, you're talking about having a linebacking core of Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, and Mike Green. In that type of situation, or even if you
Mhm.
ran more 3-4 fronts in that situation, you're providing Mike Green with protection.
Yeah.
And his protection is Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone in the middle. You put Mike Green in a position, because what I noticed what Marshall did with him, Marshall let him do pretty much whatever he wanted. He moved all along that defensive front. He was all the way out at 5 technique. He was out at 8, not 8, but he was out at the 7. He was lined up at 4 tech every now and then. But for the most part, he was lined up outside the tackle at that 5 technique, which is, I
Yeah.
think, is going to be his natural spot at the NFL level. He turned out to be a little bigger than I thought he was at the NFL Combine when they measured him in and weighed him in and everything. But the explosiveness, the violence at the point of attack, can he get a little more nuanced when it comes to actually rushing the passer? Sure. But the talent is definitely there. I don't want to speak. I don't want to go on too long with all these players. I can go on all night, but I want to just kind of fly through these players. Torrey Horton Jr., a guy
Mhm.
we talked about a couple days ago. Man, I'm surprised he doesn't get more respect out there. He was hurt this year, only played in 5 games, but dude was super productive at Colorado State the last couple years. 6'3", 196 pounds, long arms, very, very agile, shifty, good in space. Not really a burner, but he does everything else well as a natural wide receiver, man. And I liked him a lot the past couple years. Most people who watch Colorado, you saw him against Colorado last season make a ton of plays against the Buffaloes in that game right there.
Mhm.
Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan. People around here already know who Will Johnson is. I don't think he's a straight up man corner. I think he's an off man corner. You can play a little press every now and then. I think he's very similar, I think, to Patrick Surtain Jr. in the sense that when Patrick came out, I felt the exact same way about him. He wasn't the fastest corner, but I thought he was fast enough. I don't want to
Right.
just put Pat on the island consistently. Pat is just versatile enough where you can play cover 3 with him, you can play off man, you can play some cover 2 man, sometimes depending on what the type of matchup he has. But Will is a gambler. And
Uh,
that was, yeah. I was just want to say real quick, Will's a gambler, and I think that was an issue a lot of people, a lot of scouts had with him. They felt that he gambled too much. My thing with it is this with the quote unquote gambler corner. I don't have a problem with you gambling if you watch your film, you do your notes, you know your keys, you know what you're looking at. And when you look at Will Johnson, man, Will Johnson's ball production at Michigan was outrageous. The interceptions, the pick sixes, and it wasn't just him sitting in the zone and the ball just happened to find him. Will consistently went and hunted the football down. So it wasn't just him always gambling. Will was a menace underneath. I think he's better underneath than Travis Hunter. A lot of people say when it comes to like the short zone game, breaking on things that's in front of him, playing, facing the football, Travis is the best in the draft. I don't think so. I think Travis is a better high-end athlete than Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson is probably the better natural corner. We already talked about Miles Frazier. We talked about James Pierce, Jimmy Horn Jr., wide receiver, Colorado.
yeah.
Undersized, 5'9", explosive, playmaker. If we're talking about a wide receiver, I don't think you and I, neither one of us have a specific type of wide receiver that we're looking at. We just feel that the offense does need another wide receiver, another
Yeah.
type of playmaker, whether it's a 6'5" guy or a 5'9" guy. And Jimmy Horn Jr., despite the injuries he suffered at Colorado, Jimmy Horn Jr. was nothing but a playmaker for Shedeur Sanders. Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, Toledo, not the most physical defensive tackle, but I think when it comes to being able to naturally get after the quarterback, pure pass rusher, that's him. Just not as powerful, but he does have the long arms. He showed up at the combine, was very, very explosive in all of his workouts. And to me, he looked like one of the 3 best overall defensive tackles at the combine. And then for people who may not know who this dude is, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end, Bowling Green, very undersized tight end. Think close to a poor man's Antonio Gates, for that matter. But if you're talking about somebody in this organization loves versatility, you're talking about somebody. Remember, what was the tight end name for the Washington Redskins who was always getting hurt, but he was real good? Jordan. If anybody,
I thought you were talking about Thomas.
No, if anybody remembers the tight end that played for the Washington Redskins, whether his first name Jordan or his last name, I think his first name was Jordan. Just Jordan Davis, not Jordan Davis, but he was very similar to him. One of those 6'2" guys, 235 pounds, that tweener. You're a tweener between an oversized big wide receiver and the tight end.
Like a Mo Alley Cox, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like that. Just a bunch of low-key guys. I mean, James Pearson is low-key. But, just a few guys that I got through there. And if you want, you can comment on some of those guys. I'm just going to flash up the rest of this list. And then we can get to the mock
I mean, you hit it, man. I'm not as high on Will Johnson like you are. I think Will Johnson, to me, it runs like he's in quicksand, in my opinion.
I get it. He do.
I don't really think Will Johnson. I don't know. I'm not gonna kill the kid. I'm not a Will Johnson guy. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple guys I would take before him. Obviously, Travis Hunter is the cream of the crop in this trap. It is a corner that I do like. The kid from Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? I think I would take a chance on him, even though Will Johnson way more experienced than Harrison. And you would say, well, I would trust the Michigan corner over a Kentucky corner just based on opponents and production. But really, who in the hell kind of scared you a quarterback in the Big Ten? You know what I'm saying? Other than Indiana's quarterback or, obviously Ohio State. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna kill the kid for that, but it's one guy, Siobhan Rebel Jr., Benjamin Morrison too as well. You know what I'm saying? I would take a look at two of those guys. Yeah, I like CJ West though. Getting to your list here. I like Caldwell too. You kind of brought him to my attention a little bit. I know he plays with Jordan Burch, plays with Derek Harmon, 2 guys that I like. I like Caldwell too. I think that, man, they were a menace. It seemed like they didn't wreak havoc like you thought. I mean, you would see those 3 guys out there, and then they got another corner. What is his name? Walt Muhammad at corner. He's another guy that I like on that defense, man.
Jabbar Muhammad.
Yeah, Jabbar Muhammad. I think he a late round pick too, but I like Caldwell. You know what I'm saying? I mentioned Jordan Hancock. He's another guy I definitely would take a look at late round safety. I think you can get him past the 5th round. Seth Hennigan is interesting. He's really interesting. Quarterback prospect from Memphis. Billy Bowman Jr. That's another guy. I had him because I like Landon Jackson as well. You know what I'm saying? I think that Oklahoma's got some players on that team. Walter Nolan's been your guy. I mean, I'll let you expound on Walter, your guys, but Walter Nolan, you really brought me my eyes. I compliment you like all the time, for your analysis. Walter Nolan, another guy I didn't have on my radar at all, man. Until you start mentioning Walter Nolan, the guy about 2 months ago. So yeah, Walter Nolan's a damn good football player, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like Avery, shout out to Avery, Ty Robinson. I liking him every time I see him. Every time the tape I watch it, and now I'm like, man, this is another guy that I didn't wasn't on my radar.
I don't get what
saying?
People don't see with him.
Yeah. So Ty Robinson and Walter Nolan, absolutely, man. Oh, CJ West too. CJ West. I figured CJ West would damn sure be there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would love to get him, sort of like remember when we got Makai Wingo late last year, sort of in that time frame. But yeah, man. I like this kid too. That Emma Worry from
Yep, Emma
South
Worry.
Carolina, man. Look at the kid put together, man, ready to kill somebody. I love it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let you expound on your guys, man. But Chase Lund, I mentioned him. You know I like him. That's another alternative guy on the offensive line. Like I think what is he, 6'5", something like that, over 310, 315,
Oh,
something
Chase.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chase 6'7". Yep,
yeah.
6'7", 6'7", 310, 6'7",
Yeah,
315,
310,
something
three
like that.
fifteen, something like that. And I like Will Campbell, even though he won't be there. Love him and Makuba. We talked about him. So um
I'm
yeah,
a big fan of Chase Lunt though, man. I've been like I don't
you
I,
you
I
you
tell
brought it
people,
up to me. You've
yeah.
been talking about him for 2 years. Yep,
For
I
those that don't know,
remember.
Chase Lunt is the guy that's on the actual thumbnail, the tall white dude. But yeah,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
Chase Lunt, man. When I go back to 2023, I believe,
yeah,
yeah, go back to 2023. His film against Tennessee was elite,
yeah,
and that was James Pierce. That was Omar Norman Lott, the defensive tackle, the 3 tech.
yeah. Another
That was
guy.
everybody.
Norman Lott.
Everybody that
Yes.
Tennessee threw at Chase Lunt at left tackle, he washed out. That was when I first noticed, okay, this guy coming out of UConn, that's not a big time, NFL
Mhm.
football factory.
Yeah.
UConn, that's not a football school, it's a basketball school. But they've been putting some dudes in the league lately.
The
They
last
had a
couple of
guy
years.
from a guard that got drafted last year. I forgot his name, but yeah, so he came back in the Michigan film. Josiah Stewart, like everybody he went against,
Yeah.
talent wise, he washed out. And you know how big I am on competition
Uh-huh.
at cornerback, at tackle. I want to see what you do against mano y mano, the top competition. Everybody I saw Chase Lunt play against, Chase Lunt washed. Now the 6'7", do I like that? Not too much. He's 6'7" with short arms too. But you talking about the athleticism, the physicality, the ability to get out and pull consistently from left tackle or right tackle. I don't think he's a guard. I've heard some people think he's going to move inside the guard. I don't think he's kind of a narrow build as well. He's got a basketball body. Same thing I said about Wyatt Millum of West Virginia. But when you
Hmm.
start talking about dudes being 6'7" and a half, 6'8", unless you're talking about Mekhi Becton, what other kind of body you really expect him to have? But yeah, Andrew Makuba, a Texas man, coming as a
Yeah.
transfer from Clemson, a little
Beast,
bit
man.
undersized safety, very fast, very explosive, a very willing tackler. Misses a lot of tackles, but it's not because he goes in fearless. He's a smaller guy that throws his body around a lot.
Yeah.
Very, very big time playmaker. Has solid ball skills. Can play in the slot. Can play a little bit one deep. He provides a lot of versatility. I'm a big fan of Andrew Makuba. And Nick Emiori of South Carolina. I was saying this earlier in the season, and it maybe seems a little sacrilegious. I don't know, but I really saw a lot of Sean Taylor in him.
Yeah. A little bit.
Now,
Yeah, a
he's
little
not
bit.
I mean, you looking at the size, you talking about 6'3", 220 pounds. First of all, we don't see those size safeties anymore. The last one was like Cam Chancellor, and he's way more athletic than Cam Chancellor. He showed up at the combine. He ran sub 4.4. He leaped, 43 and a half inches.
Yeah.
He had the broad jump. He had everything. And when you look at his ball production, it's outrageous. He was a complete eraser on the back end for South Carolina. South Carolina got a few guys getting drafted this year. Now, he missed a lot of tackles. His missed tackle rate was a little outrageous for a guy of his caliber. But
Yeah.
his grade in pass coverage was elite in the country. So, if nothing else, I have a 6'3", 220-pound safety that can run sideline to sideline, has excellent hands, has ball skills, and he has the ability to play three different schemes for me if I need him to be able to.
Yeah.
And for a team that likes to play with three safeties, at least they did Detroit. They played with three safeties probably 90% of the time last couple seasons. I don't know how much that's going to change now that Aaron Glenn is gone. But if they continue to play with three safeties in this day and age in the NFL, teams are playing with three safeties. It's just
Yeah.
what it is now, man. They playing with 5 DBs most of the time. Why not have a weapon like him that can do so much on the back end with Kirby? And that also allows Brian Branch to soak right back into what he really does well. He can be more of a nickel for us, I think, this season. If you had a more dynamic safety, a third dynamic safety to pair with those two dudes. And then also, man, Robbie Outs of Alabama, man.
Yep. He a good
I
player.
like Robbie Outs, man. Tight end / fullback. I got that up there because he played tight end in Alabama, but he had some fullback versatility. He showed up at the combine, man. They caught the ball as a fullback, as good as any other tight end out there, man. Dude's got
Yeah.
massive hands. He's got long arms. He's a little bit short. But if you're talking about, once again, a team that loves versatility, a tight end that can play
Mhm.
fullback, you telling me a fullback that can play tight end and naturally get out there and catch the football in space and make things happen? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Robbie Alves is probably like a 4th or 5th round pick, maybe a 6th. But he's also, one of my favorite players. And then the two Ole Miss kids at the top, man.
Mhm.
Trey Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss, not that fast, tall, 6'3", borderline 215, closer to 218. Long arms, made a lot of plays downfield for Ole Miss. Struggles to separate a little bit. But if you're talking about a receiver that you could possibly get a little later in the draft, if you want a younger guy to add to that wide receiver room, it's him. And then, where is it? Because I can't see it at the top. Because I got everything is blocking the top. I got the
Amos,
live
Trey
button
Amos.
there.
Amos.
Yeah,
Yeah, corner
yeah,
from Ole Miss. Yeah.
yeah. He was the one I was talking about, not Trey. Yeah, Trey Harris, the wide receiver, but Trey Amos also showed up at the combine. Prototypical size, SAS the speed, ran the 4.4. And you know how I feel about competition. He played in the SEC against the best wide receivers in America, and he held his own consistently Saturday in, Saturday out, man. So for the most part, those are my guys. I'm going to throw this last part of the list up here before we get into it. Josiah Stewart, edge, Michigan. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle. Oregon, maybe the best 3 technique in this class. Shamar Stewart,
Mhm.
athletic freak, defensive end of Texas A&M. There's been some concerns about his weight and his size. Not necessarily like that he's overweight, but Shamar's body type kind of says that he may eventually kick inside the defensive tackle at 3 technique. Clay Webb, guard out of Jackson State. Very,
Yeah.
very short, sawed off dude, short arms, but he showed up at the Senior Bowl, played some center, played some guard, held his own, dominated Dayon Walker, matter of fact. 6'7" defensive tackle from Kentucky on a few snaps. Tate
Yeah.
Rutledge, guard
Yeah. I like
Georgia,
him.
played a ton of games at Georgia, man.
Yep. I
Jalen
got him.
Milrow,
Yep.
I
Milrow.
got
No, I
Jalen
like
on there
Milrow.
too.
Yeah, I do
Yeah, because I
too.
mean,
I
I
got
want a
Jalen Milrow.
quarterback.
Me
I don't
too.
pull no punches on it. I would like to see them get a quarterback at some point in time in this draft. And
I think
Malachi
Milrow.
Starks.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
you good.
Milrow's very intriguing, man. I'm telling you, late in the draft, I would do it. I'm telling you, just because for the simple fact is you do, like you said, have to get some serious like NFL QB aura going on in that room, man. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we know Goff's a quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is I just think Hendon Hooker got a raw deal, man. I mean, I don't know where people are already bypassing him. Like, yeah, well, he's not even, I mean, it's kind of hard to be like a backup of a starter in the NFL. It really is. You really have to just stay ready. You know what I mean? Basically, and just, but what I'm saying is I want a guy that, man, this guy's got some talent and he could be the next guy in line after Goff, retires or moves on, whatever the case may be. I mean, a legit backup quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That could be ready to possibly unseat the starter. That's what I'm talking about. So Could it be Jalen Milroe? You never know. You know what I'm saying? Could it be others in this draft? Obviously. Um,
I'm laughing at this because Lamar always talking about how well I joke about it too about how Brad Holmes don't like real good players.
yeah,
If you too talented,
yeah,
he see a high salary cap number in 3 years.
yeah, yeah. And he bypassed him.
Don't
Yeah.
be too good. I might have to pay you in 3 years.
But you know what? Another before we get started on the draft, the other offensive lineman was my guy was Ozzie Trapilo. Remember
Oh
Walt
yeah.
6'8". Ozzie could play, man, and he's kind of lost in the shuffle. I think I did 3 or 4 mock drafts within the last week or two, and Ozzie Trapilo's like available in the 6th round. It's crazy, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because I think he's another guy from Boston College. I think, like you said, 6'8", that can really, fill a spot. You know what I'm saying? I think he's rough and rugged enough where he could be an NFL starter. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, we get to this draft.
Jordan Reed. That's what it was.
Yeah, Jordan
Rob got
Reed,
it.
yeah, for the
Washington.
Redskins.
Yep.
Yeah, tight end.
Knew somebody was gonna get it. So yeah, we're gonna get ready to get into this draft. Talk to these people for a second while I bring this up.
Yeah, so when you look at this draft, the Lions picking at number 28. You got teams ahead of him, ahead of them, and I think every year, every draft, you get to trade scenarios, and then you really start to see like team needs, and really now it's getting closer to the draft. Trade talks will start. Um, it'll certain teams like this particular guy may trade up. Listen, I think it's 3 wild cards in this first round of the draft, man. I really do. I think it's going to be Travis Hunter. I think Shedeur Sanders. And I don't know how far down those guys are going to go. I think Travis Hunter, I think it's safe to say Travis Hunter is probably, in my estimation, a top 5 pick. I'm just going to just put it out there. I think Shedeur Sanders may not be as high of a pick as everybody think, man. Every year somebody drops. I'm not saying he's going to drop past the top 10. I think if he gets past like the Giants, I don't think, I'd be surprised if he went out of the top 10, but I just think that this draft is totally like this is the wrong year to pick a quarterback. Thank God the Lions don't have to really need a franchise
No, I
quarterback.
agree.
You know what I'm saying? I
I'm
mean,
cool with Cam Ward.
I don't trust Shedeur Sanders. I don't, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as much as I'm with,
I
listen,
trust Cam Ward.
I
I,
trust
I
Cam Ward
trust
more
Cam
than
Ward
Shedeur.
for a few reasons.
That's what I was gonna say. Cam Ward, to me, he's the better quarterback. I mean, you know me, I like Deion Sanders. I do. I like everything about him, everything he's done. I'm not trying to crap on his son or anything like that to say he's no good. I'm just saying, man. I think Cam Ward is more polished to me. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders has got some great traits, man. I think he can throw the ball off the wrong foot. You know what I'm saying? And still make plays. I think, he's made play on offensive line was terrible at Colorado. That's number one. And I do think he had some playmakers. He made some plays. You know what I'm saying? So it's something there with Shedeur Sanders. It really is. But I think he's just gonna have to go to the right team. Let's just what I mean. If he goes to Cleveland, I think he's doomed, man. I think if Shedeur Sanders goes to Cleveland, they're gonna ruin the kid's career, man. You know what I'm saying?
The current state they in, yeah.
The
But it
current
seems like the
state they
Browns
in.
always in this state.
Yeah, I think that maybe I think the Giants it could be, you know what I'm saying, because the Giants at least are stable, you know what I'm saying. I mean, they're not right now, but they're just players away from being right back in it, in my opinion, in that division and everything. So, um, yeah, I think Ashton Genty, that's another guy. I think because of the success of Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs the last couple of years, I think the running back position is all the way back in the draft, and I don't people, you don't draft running backs in the top 50. That's out the window, man. Ashton Genty he's going in the top I think he's going to the Bears. I've been saying it for 3 months. I think somebody said the Raiders, and Raiders possibly could. You can see Pete Carroll probably getting them, but I think Ashton Genty's going to be, a top 10 draft pick, man, in my opinion. So this is an intriguing draft, more so than last year. I think, the hype, of it being here in Detroit, you know what I'm saying? So it was a big, uh, big hype about it. And it still is, you know what I'm saying? And I think this year it's way more prospects to me than especially on offense. I mean, excuse me, especially on defense than last year, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Just like I think Avery mentioned, he's right. It's about 20 guys you can pick from. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be very disappointing, Walt, not to come out with high level talent that can start on our team, man. You know what I'm saying? That's for me.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Just don't give me Joe Watkins from
Joe
uh
Watkins.
from Wilshire Community College in Nebraska community. You know what I'm saying? Just don't give me that, man. You know what I'm saying?
But
Don't
what if he has grit, man?
nah, man. Nah, just come on, man. You know what
What
I'm
if he's a
saying?
Brad Holmes guy though?
Nah. I mean, I get it. I mean, I hope and it makes and we laugh about it, but
Oh yeah.
Brad Holmes has for the most part did okay. You know what I'm saying? As
No, he
far
has. He
as
has
like the
definitely.
first 3 rounds, he's hit. You know what I'm saying on these guys, and I think that's the big thing. Last year, I think he hit on Makai Wingo. You know what I'm saying? And I was a guy I had him highlighted, and he actually drafted him, and I was pretty happy about that. I remember seeing tape of and watching Sayoni Baki play in Utah, and I was really excited about drafted him, but I had other. I thought Baki was gonna help out like in the safety room a little bit more, but he
Nah,
was
no.
mostly a
Baki
running
Baki
back.
was a terrible safety. That's
Yeah,
why he started playing run, but that's not the only reason. They had a bunch of injuries at Utah that final year, but he was a terrible safety, like terrible in coverage. But he could, play close to the line and play downhill and hit people and this and that.
yeah,
You put him in a situation where it's see ball, seek ball, get ball, he can go ahead and make plays. But
hmm
nah, they had no plans, I think, of ever playing him at safety.
yeah,
At least
yeah,
not
and
depending on him at safety.
yeah, and it was like I remember I wanted Xavier Liggett. I remember
I
we
said, "Oh yeah,
passed on
Leggett,
him, and we
yeah."
took I can't remember off the top of my head who was the second guy we took, but I was pissed. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, why didn't we get the receiver instead of just taking a guy that we know that's just a project? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we can get into it, man. I mean, this is it right here. I mean, it's game time. It's time to draft. It's time to see what we looking like here, man. This draft season. You
All
you
right.
ready?
Let's go through these picks real quick. We picked at 28,
Yeah.
60, 102, 130, 196. And then in the seventh round, we picked at 228 and 244.
244.
Yep.
Now we
So
doing straight up? Are we doing any trades, or you just want to see
no,
this?
no
This
trades. We can
no.
handle it, I think, in this one straight up.
Okay.
And go ahead and see how things play out. So y'all ready?
Yeah. So you make it a well. We can expound on the first pick. And so this draft Cam Ward with number one.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
go back over it real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, look at this. See, look at all the high level player already. Some of them are gone already. Okay, you go
This must
Cam
be the
Ward.
random part of it with the Giants. Like,
Yeah.
would the
See
Giants
Travis Hunter.
actually take Travis Hunter though if the two
See, I
quarterbacks
told you.
were there?
Look at that. Look how this thing. That's what I said. Shador Sanders going to Cleveland would be a mess. I think, man. I just feel bad for him. Travis Hunter going to New York. I could see that. I could see that wholeheartedly. Will Campbell, Abdul Carter. Wow, Abdul Carter going fifth. The Jaguars need some help, so I could see them running a card up there to get Abdul
I like
Carter.
Mason Graham to the Raiders.
Yeah, yep. They kind of need that. Max Crosby were probably and
Gentry
that's
to the Jets.
Genty to the Jets. Yeah, and that's Aaron Glenn. You know what I'm saying? Know how
Yep.
important it is. Jahdae Barron. Wow, that's a slip. And you know what? He's kind of lighting to see they chose him over Will Johnson in this draft. They said that Barron was better, on their board. So I mean, man, that's surprising right there. Tyler Warren, Cowboys. I could see that for them. Jalen Walker, Shamar Stewart. Yeah, Atlanta needs some infusion of defense on that team. Jahad Campbell. Matthew Golden's my guy with Isaiah Bond. I like him.
So there you go, Raw Detroit. Your boy went to Seattle at pick 18.
Yeah, yep. That's 18.
Mike Green to
Mike
Tampa.
Green is wow. He's gone. Kenneth Grant's gone. Look at that. Malachi Starks. Wow, he's the first time I've seen him being in the first round. Ibuka.
I like Ibuka to the Chargers.
Yep. Josh Simmons. Yeah, look at your boy Walter Nolan. Kelvin Banks. Wow, dropped all the way to 25. They kind of need that though with Tunsil gone now. And then
Booker to the Rams. That's good.
Yep.
That's great for them.
Yep.
Nick Scorton went to the Baltimore Ravens. One spot ahead. Okay, so
Yep.
let's go. Positions. Got Luther Burton on the board. See, James Pierce Jr.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I'm saying. So if we comparing him, if we filter the positions,
go deep. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let's see what else is on. Let's see what offensive lineman is still on the board.
Yeah, there we go. Offensive line
and corners. Trey Amos. Wait, we ain't trying to get that. Let me go straight to the interior offensive line. Real quick.
Luther.
Jared Wilson, Tate Rutledge. Oh, so they didn't have Gray Zabel rated that high because he's not even on here. Miles Frazier. No, they didn't. Unless they did. No, they didn't.
No, is that interior? Is they going interior?
No, they had him. They probably got him at. Yeah, they got him at tackle.
Yeah, go to. There we go. Yep. Let's see here. You're gonna go. Yeah, go OT. Yep, there you go. Okay, there we go.
So it does. It did come down to Gray Zabel and James Pierce.
Josh Connolly. Yep. Yeah, just what we said. Boy, man. Gray Zabel.
So let's have a quick, because this is a first round. So let's have a quick discussion about this.
Yeah.
Right along with y'all, the listeners who are right here, right now. Is it James Pierce, the edge rusher, or is it Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman? Now, you talking about adding the edge rusher, something that Lions fans, we all have been clamoring for a very long time. This guy is the most physically gifted edge rusher in this class. Could have been the number one overall pick. Was the number one rated edge rusher, the number one rated prospect coming out last offseason.
Yep.
And you talking about Gray Zabel, a guy who can play left tackle, right tackle, center, right guard, left guard.
Yeah.
So in the comment section, let us know what you guys think real quick.
Well, we see Pierce. We see 3 James Pierce right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaning, if while more picks come in, I'm leaning towards James Pierce too. Yeah, I mean, I know I like Gray Zabel, and man, it just turns my stomach to even pass on him, to be honest with you. But I think James Pierce, like you said, well, I think the risk, the high ceiling, a high reward would be more if we took Pierce. I do. I think it's something there, man. I think he got mean streak. I think that he's got everything that you would want, on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. He would be fantastic, I think, in this defense with, just think about it, with him, Hutchinson, Lee McNeil, he's probably going to be on the IR to begin the season, but it is what it is. DJ Reader, you know what I'm saying, Walt? I like James Pierce. I do. He's on my board too. I would pick him. I wouldn't even think twice. After I talk myself into it, I would do it. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right, so we took James Pierce at 28. So we got the edge rusher out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take a quick look and see what happened ahead of us after 28. So after 28, Omarion Hampton. That's funny. He was another guy that was on my board overall.
Yeah,
Washington took a running back. Buffalo took Derek Harmon.
Wow, good pickup for them.
Kansas City, Josh Connolly, tackle from Oregon, and the Eagles took That's an Eagle. Like Luther Burden, no, really.
Yeah.
Like,
I like Luther Burton, though, man.
Cleveland.
Cleveland took Gray Zabel. Yep.
Yeah, that's great for them. Nick Emenyor, oh man, adding him to that defense
Yeah.
already.
Already with Brian Burns and Lauren.
Um,
Yeah,
I like
that's a
Tennessee immediately giving Cam Ward a tight end and Colston Loveland.
yeah.
Jacksonville takes a wide receiver, and if that ain't the most Jacksonville Jaguar thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Raiders go running back, Caleb Johnson, big running back out of Iowa.
Yeah.
Patriots go Tyleek Williams, defensive tackle. Eric Lamore. That's something. The Bears worked out the trade with Carolina. They had two. Oh, and they took Darius Alexander. That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Jackson Dart,
Yeah.
number
Quarterback.
42 to the Jets. Ain't that something? So with the Jets' first two picks, they go offense. Ashton Genty and Jackson Dart.
Yeah. Landon Jackson, that's my guy, man. That's
Landon Jackson and Will Johnson, huh?
Wow.
For the 49ers.
Donovan Jackson, that's another guy. That was the next. Wow. 45 Princely.
The Colts go edge rusher with their
Yeah.
first two picks. They went Shamar Stewart in the first round, and they went with Prince at number 45. Trey Amos, cornerback, Ole Miss, goes to Atlanta. Maxwell Hairston goes to Arizona. TJ Sanders, only makes sense, goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Seattle doubles down on defense, doubles down on edge rusher.
Yeah, that's my guy too, JT Tumaloa.
Xavier Watson, that's Lamar's one of his favorite players in this class. Seattle also gets another pick, takes a wide receiver, Jaden Higgins of Iowa State. Tampa Bay goes corner. They stay on the defensive side of the ball with Siobhan Ravel, 6'2" corner. Jack Sawyer to Buffalo. Ain't that something? So they double down on the defense, huh?
Yeah.
Travion Henderson to Houston. Ain't that something?
Wow. Yep.
That would be really good for them.
Yeah.
Really good for CJ. All right, so we are.
Oh boy.
All right, so we went edge rusher.
Yep.
Possibly, we may have gotten the best player in the draft. He was the number 1 rated player in the draft all summer.
Yeah.
PFF had him rated number 1 for the first few months of the season. Had a couple issues at Tennessee, but it's possible that Detroit got the best defensive player in the draft at pick 28. So at pick 60, where do we go from here, man? We got your boy Demetrius Knight Jr. on the board.
Yeah, head linebacker. Yep.
Quinshawn Judkins,
the
running back.
Let's see what we got on offensive line first. Let's see what's going on offensive line.
Tackle or guard?
Let's go guard. Let's go inside and see what we got going on here.
Jarrett Wilson, center from Georgia. Tate Rutledge, guard from Georgia. Willie Lampkin.
Well,
anybody out there know about Willie Lampkin, man? Willie Lampkin is a 5'11" guard.
Yeah.
And one of the highest rated guards in the country at 5'11". But I took him off my board because he's only 5'11". I like a good hard luck, feel good story, but I'm not drafting no 5'11" offensive lineman.
Nah, hell no.
Luke
not
Cantor,
interested. Seth McLaughlin.
Dude, all the quality interior offensive linemen are gone.
Not go. Yeah, all the interior.
So we go to
wait a minute. Go to tackle. Let's see. We gotta get some guy that can play. That can't be what we left with already.
Man, we went for the edge rusher. Remember, y'all wanted to go sexy.
Yeah, that's fine. Ozzy's there. Ozzy definitely will be there coming up. I wouldn't take him this early.
We down to like the.
Yo,
I don't know. We could probably get Jonah in the third though.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean Wyatt Millum. These are all guys we could probably get the third.
Because I think Demetrius Knight, I think we can get him too later on the draft. I don't think he's a second round pick.
Let's see. Look at the overall board who left. Xavier Restrepo.
Yeah, I like him.
Shamar Turner, interior defensive lineman for Texas A&M. Darian Porter.
Yeah. I'm going just with Raw Detroit, man. I was just gonna say I like Norman Lott too. That's your guy. I really like him. I want to bolster that defensive line. Look, I love Alfred Collins. That's another guy I like too, and Jordan Birch. It's
You want
just
you want to
this is
double
why.
down on defense?
Yeah, because this is why I think I could go Wyatt Millum. I mean, because I would like to get Millum in here, get him in our system. I think he's better than Mebo. I think he's more of an outside guy, though. That's the only thing. And I think would the transition be too much for him to start? Would he get overwhelmed? You know what I'm saying? Having these big defensive guys coming at him and he's not used to it, you know what I'm saying, in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wyatt Millum is way too talented to pass up. I mean, Wyatt Millum's better than he'd be more valuable than Demetrius Knight to me. And I love Demetrius Knight. Oh boy, this is a
Go
tough
through the
scenario right here.
while you choosing. I'm gonna go through the comments real quick. Joseph,
Yeah.
Darius. Who took Darius? Somebody took Darius at Somebody already took Darius out. Darius Alexander.
Did he go already? You sure?
Yeah. Yep. Let me go take a
Okay.
look real quick.
Yeah, was it the Titan? Was it not the Titans? The Texans, maybe.
Nope. It was the Bears.
Oh yeah, the
Bears,
Bears. Oh
Bears
wow.
took him at 41.
Okay. We gotta listen. We gotta bolster the offensive line. Let's be smart, man. Let's go back to offensive. We gotta be smart. I know we want to load up on defense. I know. And trust me, I get it. We can. Demetrius Knight is my guy, and I'm gonna try to hopefully fourth round he's there, and I would take Demetrius Knight, but I'm going. Give me Wyatt Millum. I just man, Cameron Williams too. I'm taking Wyatt Millum. I'm that's a smart pick. You have to take that kid, man. You know what I'm saying? You have to. You can't. He's too talented to pass on him and take.
Damn.
They took Makuba right
Yeah.
before they took Makuba. That was like my next guy, but okay.
All right, let me see what's going on here, man. We got
Yeah.
Lathan Ransom still on the board, Devin Neal, Damian Martinez, Sebastian Castro, Harold Fanta Jr. Let me go take a look real quick at what the cornerbacks look like. Jacob Parrish of Kansas State, Kobe Bryant of Kansas, Mello Dotson of Kansas, Noah Williams of California, Zay Alexander.
It ain't much.
There's some guys I wouldn't necessarily take this early though.
Yeah, Jacob Parrish undersized. He like 5'10". I don't want another undersized corner, man.
Safety.
Ransom, Castro,
Billy
yeah,
Bowman
Billy
Jr.
Bowman. I like Billy Bowman.
I like Akil Arnold too. A USC going through these positions. Let's see.
Go to I was gonna say, yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Bet. Okay, so Jamari Caldwell, for me right now, just to let y'all know in the comment section and get y'all opinions on some things. For me right now, I'm gonna keep going through some of these positions, but for me right now, I'm leaning towards taking Jamari Caldwell, and I'm leaning towards Jamari Caldwell for a couple reasons. One,
Yeah.
Aleem McNeil and his
Yeah.
health. Not only is he out until probably early to mid-October, we also looking at a situation with a guy who doesn't really give us the consistency that we need week in, week out. I love Aleem as a player. When Aleem is on the field, Aleem looks dominant. He's gotten better and better since he came into the league out of NC State. Can't depend on him consistently. DJ Reader is a veteran, getting a little up in age, not too up in age, but nose tackles typically can play until they 34, 35 years old. $11 million they stand to save on him if they were willing to go ahead and release him before his time. I don't think they will. It doesn't make sense to release DJ Reader. But all in all, I do think the interior of our defensive line, you look at Jamari Caldwell. Jamari Caldwell is 6'2", which I'm good with, 332 pounds. Long arms. He's got the trunk that you need to play on the interior consistently. The reason people aren't as high on Jamari Caldwell is because they view him as strictly a nose tackle. I don't think he's strictly a zero. If you look at what he did at Oregon, right along with Derek Harmon, he played 0, he played 1 technique, he shaded, he played 2, he played some 3 tech. They would bounce him outside. Every now and then they even dropped him in some fire zone blitzes. He, for one, first and foremost, he holds his ground. He protects the line of scrimmage. That's the number one job I need my defensive tackle to do, not rush the passer. I need you to hold the line of scrimmage so my linebackers can go out there and eat and don't get pushed back. He does that consistently, as well as he wreaks havoc. It's not his job to necessarily close the play all the time, but for lack of a better phrase, for what his job description requires him to do, he fucks shit up. That's all I need him to do. Crush things inside so that way you flooding everything outside so Aiden Hutchinson can eat and Marcus Davenport can eat or James Pierce can eat. Yeah. So right now I'm leaning towards Jamari Caldwell. Let me know in the let us know in the comments section what y'all thinking about.
And what about is Derek Harmon on the board though? His teammate?
No, Derek Harmon gone. Derek Harmon gone too. Him and CJ West gone.
Okay.
So
okay. Yeah, I got no issue with Jamari Caldwell in the 3rd round. I mean, that's thank you, Aaron Glenn. This is Aaron Glenn pick, right? For pretty much getting taken.
I don't like the corners at this spot. I don't like the safeties at this spot.
Nope.
We already took a tackle. You and I talked about tight end. We can look at the wide receivers and see what's going on with the wide
receivers. You pick him. If you pick him,
Bond's still on the board.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's the guy, but I don't think he'll last past the 3rd round.
Man,
boy, because let's just think about this.
Bond and Horton still on the board.
I'm gonna just tell y'all, Isaiah Bond is my guy. That's the pick right there.
We don't pick again until
what is it?
1:30. Yeah, now we could break our own rule and look at a trade.
Try to trade. No, we'll have to do it tonight. Yeah, we don't have to trade tonight. Yeah. But it'll be interesting. So then we'll kind of know what we're looking at. If we don't take Bond's gonna go in the next 28.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, but these are the types of things that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are gonna have to deal with. Like, you know what your needs are, but there's always players at other positions. Just like Raw Detroit just said, even Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's gone too, though.
Yeah, Matthew
Golden's gone. The thing is this, though.
I love Savion Williams, Raw.
Yeah, I will say this. We ate our vegetables first, right?
Yeah.
Meaning we took care of offensive line. We took care of edge rushers. So everybody should be happy right now. And if we go right now, we look at our picks so far. We took James Pierce in the 1st round, Wyatt Millam in the 2nd round. So now can we afford to have a little fun now? Even though wide receiver is considered having a little fun, but wide receiver still is a need. And I'm pretty sure y'all out there can agree. We talking about, you got questions about JMO. We know exactly what Amon-Ra St. Brown is, and I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. But we know exactly what he is as a wide receiver. We do need a different wide receiver skill set wise out there, because even Tim Patrick, he's like a pseudo tight end. He doesn't separate much. He's a tall guy with a big catch radius.
I'm glad you mentioned that. This will be my rationale thinking about this.
Raw Detroit. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I love Torrey Horton. I love me some Torrey Horton out here, man. But I also like Jamari Caldwell.
Think about that, yeah, because you could take Caldwell. Think about, and I'm gonna just give you my input since you're gonna make the pick. We're in a war room, so we talking about this. I like Terrence Ferguson at tight end. Terrence Ferguson's gonna be there on our next pick. You know what I'm saying? So if you took, I'm willing to sacrifice and not take Isaiah Bond, which I think he'll be dynamite with this. He'll play like the more rah-rah Khalif Raymond. He'll be better than Khalif Raymond's spot on this team. You know what I'm saying? Just Isaiah Bond is the guy, man, in my opinion.
I'm going to check something out because...
See it tied in it. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to see something with Jamari Caldwell real quick, because if he's liable to fall, we may be able to get him 30 picks from now, because he's rated at 118.
Yeah. Yo.
So we helped out the offensive line. We helped out edge rusher. I don't like the corners right now. I don't like the safeties. I'm not taking the linebacker. I'm not taking another edge rusher. So for me, it comes down to another interior presence at defensive line, defensive tackle, or the
Now,
wide
who's that?
receiver.
Well, one thing, go see who's available at linebacker.
Okay.
Let's just see who's available.
Oh no,
Okay, Bassa, Barrett
Barrett
Carter.
Carter, no, and I like Barrett Carter.
Yeah, see
Jack Kaiser,
Demetrius Knight gone anyway. Yeah, I like Cody Simon. Yeah, he okay.
yeah.
Yeah, see, it's slim pickings now, man.
As
Far
much,
as
and I
like
do like Caldwell, but I will say this:
you could get a
I
couple
will,
other guys, man, later on, in my opinion. I mean,
yeah.
you Norman Lott is a guy everybody sleeping. Is Alfred
Well,
Collins? I
Lot
can't.
gone too.
Is Lott gone? You sure?
Let me go. Let me go make sure. Let
Yeah.
me go make sure. Check
Because
the interior defense
Norman
line.
Lott I'm surprised that every draft board I've been on, he's been like late.
Yeah, he's gone.
Norman Lott? No.
Ty Robinson. Well, damn, they got him rated that low. Oh,
Yeah.
we can get Ty Robinson
We
late too.
take
So I'm
Ty
good.
Robinson in a minute. Run the card up there.
I can
Take Ty
go ahead and
Robinson.
I'm gonna go ahead and think I'm gonna go ahead and dream a little bit, man. But let us know in the comment section what y'all thinking. I want to see what y'all thinking before I make this pick real quick. I'm leaning towards wide receiver myself, man. Trey Harris is gone too. Like all these boys is gone now. Wide receiver Alec Ayamanor, the Bears took him. He's gone too. I'm going wide receiver here mainly because to what you were saying earlier, there's a lot of defensive line talent still on the board.
Yeah,
for that matter.
You can get them late, you know.
Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and lean towards wide receiver, man. As much as I like Isaiah Bond, we got speed out there. I just think Torrey Horton is just such a playmaker, man. Such a playmaker.
Go ahead,
He does
make your pick.
Yep.
I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? I had no problem taking him at that spot. Okay.
All right, let's see what happened in the draft.
Yeah, Isaiah Bond with the next pick.
They was thinking, oh, look at the Giants. Will Howard. They was reaching. Patriots took the tight end Harold Fannin Jr. Jacksonville takes 156-pound Tez Johnson. Raiders get another running back, Damian Martinez. See what they trying to do there in Seattle. Bills take a running back. Jets take Aeneas Peoples, defensive tackle from Virginia Tech. Panthers take Lathan Ransom. Kobe Bryant, cornerback from Kansas, goes to Carolina. Jamari Caldwell goes to Atlanta. Damn good pickup for them. Barrett Carter, Tampa.
Yeah, I like Barrett.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
all of our guys still on the board too. That's crazy.
Who got Sorrell? Go back up. Did Broncos got Baron Sorrell?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All of our guys still on the board too.
Okay. So we going defense now, right? We got our receiver.
You wanted to go
linebacker is go linebacker first. Let's see who's available, please. And let's see here: Kaiser, Kobe King, and Cody Simon. Okay, go. Stutzman. He ran pretty good. Jay Higgins from. I think he was the defensive linebacker. He won a top linebacker in Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken.
I like Brew McCoy too, man. Just don't know what the hell he gonna play at the next level.
Yeah. What about interior lineman? Let's see what we got. In the corner situation, we might have to
the corner, so it just you might have to just say we handled corner in free agency. Cause
go defense interior, Walt, please.
Okay, interior D line.
Yeah. Interior. Okay, here we go.
Is my boy? No, of course my boy. Your boy probably. I'm pretty sure he's still here though.
Smith,
Cam Jackson, Ty Robinson.
He would
Our
keep
next pick is, let me see.
196.
Okay. We
Oh
might be able to still get Ty Robinson later too.
no, you don't think so? I don't think so.
Well, PFF got on rated 244. I like Cam Jackson too, though, of Florida.
Yeah, defensive and
Nah, he's a big defensive tackle, dude. 6'6",
342.
342.
Yeah,
Yeah, Cam can move a little bit. I like Cameron Jackson too.
I'm gonna take
So what
what
you
at
thinking,
this
man?
take fourth round. Go corner. Go corner. See where we're at. We didn't take a
Zy
safety yet.
Alexander,
Yeah, I don't like him at all. Man, it's slim. Not fortunate. All right,
D
Denzel
Burke
Burke is
out
okay.
here.
Yeah, but Burke is okay. Man, I don't like any of these guys to be honest with you. To be kind of
Not at this
not
pick.
at this age. Yeah, just yeah. I like Jabbar Muhammad. He rated way down, but I like him. All right, one last thing. Well, go to safety and see what's the deal at safety.
I
Billy
like Billy
Bowman.
Bowman
Yeah,
Jr.,
I like
man.
him too.
He can't tackle worth a damn, but he can make a whole bunch of plays.
Uh, my pick is leaning towards Ty Robinson right now because I don't think Ty Robinson's going to be there after this pick, man. Think about it. We got 66 picks
I ain't
before we make
arguing
our
with you.
next one. I'll go Ty Robinson. That's what I would do.
Okay, got you. I mean, I trust me. I'm not arguing with you at all. And just to let people know who may not know who Ty Robinson is, man, you got his combine numbers up. The dude
Um,
shut the combine down tremendously, man.
he's a Braden Fisk. He's a clone. I think he's
He's bigger, but
strong.
6'6", 310.
Yeah, he's strong. Can actually move a pop, move his man in front of him. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The amount of power this kid has. I'm just surprised that he's just not getting a lot of pub. Maybe because he went to Nebraska, they wasn't like a high level, on TV type. People doesn't know. Really who he is that much. I listen. Shout out to Avery. Avery
Yes, sir.
got him on my radar. You know what I'm saying? And I would have no problem taking him in the fourth round, dude. I mean, I think we're gonna love this kid. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't a project. He's not a guy that's gonna sit on the bench. He's not a guy gonna come into training camp and wonder if he's gonna make the team. He'll immediately come in and be at least or at best a rotational piece. So that's what we need, man. In my opinion, the fourth round is steal for him at this point.
I got you.
Um,
All right, so
okay,
we in the sixth. I like Seth Hennigan too, and I was thinking about seventh round going after him. I like Seth Hennigan a lot. All right, so let me see real quick. I'm going to look at because so far, if we recap, we went edge in the first round,
uh-huh.
tackle in the second, wide receiver in the third, and defensive tackle in the fourth. We got 1 sixth round and 2 sevens coming up. I'm definitely not going safety. Let me see what the cornerback room looks like over here. Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith fast as hell too. Fast
Yeah,
as
USC.
fast as shit out of USC.
Hmm.
Jason Marshall Jr. played a ton of football at Florida, former 5-star recruit. Fentrell Semperis, Tommy Hill, Mac McWilliams, a decent corner, also out of Central Florida.
Jay Adams.
Right now, most of those guys gonna be available soon.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go interior O line. Jake Majors.
Uh,
Okay.
Miles Frazier. Oh, run the card up there. Miles Frazier. Absolutely. Well, good pick. Man,
So we
I
got
couldn't
tackle
believe.
help and we got guard help.
Yeah. Okay. Next pick for me. I
Jimmy
already
Horn
know.
Jr., they took him, them damn Chiefs.
Yeah, well, go to let's see, we got a receiver. Go linebacker. That's exactly where I want to go. Go linebacker. I like Teddy Buchanan. He had a great workout from Cal this past combine linebacker. Super fast, make a ton of tackles.
That's what you want?
Um Mondon's there. You don't like Mondon at all. That's my guy. Kane Madrano. Now Madrano was he ran the Nick Martin. Wait, ho. Nick Martin on the board? Oh. They got Madrano ahead of him because they had a couple guys ahead of him, but Madrano was like the top linebacker. He ran the top 40 time. So
Definitely.
last year, the top 40 time was what's the kid from NC State? Peyton, what's his name? With the Steelers. Can't think of his name, the linebacker.
Oh, Peyton Turner.
Peyton Wilson, I think is his
Peyton Wilson.
name.
Peyton Wilson
Peyton
out of
Wilson, yeah.
NC State. Yeah.
NC State, yep.
Mm.
At tight end, my guy is my guy
Bloodlines, Arondé Gaston. I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't take him here though.
yeah, Terrence Ferguson is gone, right?
Yeah, Terrence Ferguson
Yeah, that's
gone.
my guy. Okay, Walt, I'm taking Nick Martin from Oklahoma State. That's what I want, a
Linebacker.
linebacker. Yep.
Okie dokie. This your guy. You passed on every other linebacker ahead of him.
Yeah. This my Brad Holmes reach pick, but I think
yeah, Nick had some issues this season. Only played in 5 games.
yeah,
But
he had great workout, man. I like this kid. I think fast. Everybody kind of gave up on him. I like him, man. Good in the passing game too. You know what I'm saying? So
okie dokie. Let me get over here and send this card up. All right, so I'm thinking now best available player.
yeah, we got a last pick.
Yeah.
Go running back. What's up at running back? Is Donovan Edwards on the board?
Hell no.
A running back?
Man, dude, Donovan, and I'm a Michigan fan,
he's
bro.
still there. Go to running back. I bet Donovan Edwards is still on the board.
Who was the most who had the more overrated Michigan career? Him or Jabril Peppers?
By far Peppers. I think Peppers did. Yeah. I think Peppers.
Who you want to look at? You want to see what the running backs look like?
Yeah, just just intrigue. Jackson,
Montrell Johnson, Raheem Sanders. Raheem played a bunch of.
Yeah, I knew he would be available. Yo, I knew he would be out there. He got guys ahead of him. He still got guys ahead of him.
All right, so far we went edge, we went tackle, we went wide receiver, we went defensive tackle, we went guard, and we went linebacker. That's a well-rounded ass draft so far, man. So far.
What about corner?
Yep.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry. What about corner? We haven't taken at this point, we could bring a guy like what's the kid from South Carolina, Fortune, O'Donnell Fortune at corner. It's another kid that I thought it was a kid from Western that was kind of man, I can't think of the top of my head. But yeah, we might have to go the free agent route. Obviously, bring another corner in. But yeah, I feel you though. KJ Jefferson.
DJ Ewan, this boy.
Yeah. DJ
Uyangalale.
Yeah.
Like I like Seth Hennigan, man. I'm kind of torn right now because I told you before everything was started, I did want to draft a quarterback this year. You look at Seth, man, played a ton of football, experienced quarterback at Memphis, played 13 games all 3 of the last 3 seasons, 64.9 to me, which that's 65%, 67%, 63%. So a guy that threw the ball as much as he threw it to consistently be at 65, average around 65% completion percentage is pretty solid. 25 touchdowns this past season. You look at the QB rating, you go to his passing grade overall, deep grade of 93.5. He has a grade of 88.1 with no pressure. He has a grade of 50.3 pressure, which only makes sense overall. And going through some of these numbers, turnover worthy play rate 2.2%, which points to him trying to make so much happen down the field. They didn't run the ball all that well at Memphis. He didn't have a bunch of talent surrounding him at Memphis the past couple years. So he did throw the ball a ton. You look at the deep yards, 1,050, which is 10th in the country. This is a guy that threw the ball a ton.
Mm-hmm.
at Memphis. And you talking about 6'3", 215. I like the size. Has a big arm, nice touch. And like I said, I like the experience at the quarterback position. I think we also looking at a situation in the NFL now where we saw it last year with guys like Bo Nix, Michael Penix, um, Jaden Daniels of Washington.
Yeah.
The quarterbacks that had the rookie quarterbacks that had the most success was the guys that played a ton of football, the transfers,
Yeah.
coming out of college. So I am leaning towards Seth. Um, Outside of the quarterback position, let me see what else is going on because let's see what's going on at the edge spot. Who's still Ethan Downs, Johnny Walker Jr., Elijah Austin. Yeah, I'm not really gonna double down on the edge position. I think if we was to hit on a guy like James Pierce, that takes care of everything. You pair Pierce with Aiden Hutchinson, and we good for the next 10 years.
Yep. Yep.
For the most part. The safety position is kind of worn out right now. Looking at
Right.
tackles, I don't like the tackles that's left. I do like Carson Vincent.
Yeah, Carson. I
Somebody
think
mentioned him
somebody
earlier.
mentioned him. Yep,
Yeah,
Carson Vincent.
Carson
Yep.
Vincent showed up from Alabama A&M, showed up at the combine, and he showed his ass off. I like the guys that come from the HBCUs and the smaller schools, and it's always, this is always the offensive linemen that show up and really get out there and whoop some ass. Carson Vincent, but he's a guy that we could probably get as an undrafted free agent for the most part, if he was still available at this point in time. Um, so if we just talking about the value of the pick, even a running back position, I just
Yeah.
don't see the value in it right now.
Mm.
We don't know about even with the tight ends. We really don't know honestly right now whether how at least what the relationship with Hendon Hooker looks like at this point in time.
Yeah.
Kyron Lacy at LSU, Zachary Franklin, Rock Taylor.
Yeah.
So
I
me
mean,
personally,
it just shows you how much, you know, before we get out of here, Walt, tonight, it just shows you oh, we got, yeah, you picked him. Okay. Yeah, it just shows you how valuable, the draft is. And that you have to, like, when you're a team like the Lions, right? Well, we know got a good team. You know what I'm saying? We know that we need some pieces, right, to stay like in contention. Um,
they said we should have took your other boy instead,
yeah,
Demetrius Knight
instead
Jr.
in
Yeah.
second round, yeah, and I like Demetrius Knight there. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got an F for that pick. I I just think that he's too talented not to take him that not that early. I mean, not that late in the draft to get him at 60. That was a bargain to me. So yeah, it is what it is. I was waffling. I really was. I mean, because
I'll be saying, man, some of the Michigan dog, like Rashawn Gary was one that had a whole lot of hype coming out of high school
hmm
and college and got to the NFL and was better in the pros than he was in college. But yeah, like Peppers and Donovan Edwards, man, I never thought they were the prospects they were
hmm
hyped up to be. That's just me.
yeah,
But I'm just saying, like even Raw Detroit mentioned Hendon Hooker that they're grooming Hooker. That's all fine and dandy too, man. But like Bill Belichick said, just for a few reasons, I would draft a quarterback every other year. And he did it with Tom Brady simply because they're like lottery tickets. They're like having built-in lottery tickets in your quarterback room.
hmm
If one quarterback doesn't work out one year or whatever it may be, somebody gets hurt, you got talent. And you don't have to constantly keep investing draft picks every other, saying every 5 years or every 4 years in a quarterback. If you take a quarterback every other year, and if it doesn't work out and you got Tom Brady, you can go ahead and you can trade Ryan Mallett to somebody like Houston, or you can trade Brian Hoyer to somebody for that matter. Um, Having Hendon Hooker isn't enough for me simply because, like I said, you can never have too much talent in a quarterback room.
yeah,
And with the way the direction is going in the NFL, man, with these senior quarterbacks, these experienced quarterbacks, I would definitely take a quarterback this draft. So, like I said, having Hendon isn't enough for me to not take a quarterback, but that's just something I really wanted to invest in right now. Raw Detroit also says, hold up. Unless Tennessee Titans wanted to give up a draft capital for Hooker. I don't, low key, man. I think most teams would kind of lean towards drafting their guy now because, like, Cam Ward's like super talented too. That's the whole thing. Ward is super talented, better arm, more mobile, more explosive, more dynamic. If I'm Tennessee, I would probably stay there and go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and take him. Raw
Right.
sources look like they like Milrow. That's possible. I don't think they would stay at number one to take Milrow though. That would be like the shock of the draft though.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Tennessee stayed at one to take did take Jalen Milrow.
Yeah.
Yep. But overall, what does everybody think about the draft, man? We go ahead and see if I can expand this a little bit. Actually,
Yeah.
there we go. So everybody can see that a little bit better. So everybody, let me know what y'all think about this draft that we just finished.
Dang, I got bad grades on Millum and Ty Robinson. They gave me a B for Nick Martin though. You know what I mean? Yeah, getting Miles Frazier in the 6th round, man, that's a bargain right there, boy. You know, I mean, if it came to, you know, if it turned out this way, I mean, I would be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Yeah, I mean, this is
definitely.
all PFF how they view things and
Yeah, of
versus how
course.
we view it.
Of course. I mean, we could look back at this draft and say, you know, you would think James Pierce could be a starter right away. You know, he better be, you know what I'm saying, at 28. You know, obviously Torrey Horton right now, you may say,
He might be
uh,
your third.
yep, you may say Horton may be the second best receiver, ain't even played yet. You know what I'm saying? So him, Miles Frazier, maybe a guy that may have problems staying on the field right off the bat. You know, if you got Wyatt Millum, and try to hope Wyatt Millum can make the adjustment. I think that's the only question with Millum is making the quick adjustment fast. You know, can he play guard? You know what I'm saying? He's more of a pass protector, but
Yeah, I
like I
think he's
said,
gonna
with
probably be
him,
a
I could
tackle.
make it work, man. Maybe switch Mahogany to left guard and maybe put Mellum on the right side to kind of be on the Sewell side where it'd be kind of more easier for him to me. You know what I'm saying? Ty
I think if
Robinson
they
would,
if they did take Millum
yeah,
at 60, I think it would be more so of a future moving forward
hmm
type of pick.
think
But then
so.
that would also kind of spell, I think, the end for Manu if
Yeah,
they took another tackle this early, the very next
I
year.
don't even factor him in. It's like he not even on the thing, bro. I don't even count on anything from him. But I get what you're saying. I get it. You're right. Uh, and then Ty Robinson, I think absolutely because remember Elaine McNeil might not start the season, right? He might be second or third, 4 weeks out before he even plays, right? So we need somebody to play that role. I mean, who's gonna? I mean, you know, are you expecting like DJ Reader again to? No, and Reader's fine, but what I'm saying is you need somebody next to him, right? I don't
They
think
put way too
Kaminsky.
much on his plate last season, and it wasn't
Yeah,
their
so
fault. They just needed him to.
right. You got to get a man some help, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So McNeil, I just feel uneasy with rushing these guys back so
true.
fast, and I think that Ty Robinson would be perfect. You know what I mean for getting them in there, and usually defensive, interior lineman usually can catch on the quickest. You know what I'm saying? Because basically he just has to be a space eater. And then and Nick Martin, I think Nick Martin starts right away, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He may be the fastest guy we got at linebacker right now, if this is just how it turned out. So I like it though. You know what I mean? I'm disappointed not getting a corner, maybe not getting a safety we can groom, you know what I'm saying? But I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? We could make it work. You know what I mean? We could make this draft work because reason why I say that, yeah, just like Spirit of Detroit said, we got 3 starters. You know, Torrey Horton's gonna start, James Pierce gonna start, and I think Nick Martin's gonna start right away. You know what I'm saying? So and possibly Ty Robinson due to injury Where then once Lee McNeil comes back, he can be part of the rotation. Remember, we need three guys. Who's the other guy? Past Lee McNeil Reed. Who's the third guy? Remember, we had Pat O'Connor, we had
Pascal,
Miles Adams, we had guys that were just off the street, man. So people got to think about that. So you
Levi,
got to,
Ozarike,
yeah, Anzarike, yeah.
Makai
So
Wingo.
yeah, Wingo, yeah. I'd rather have Ty Robinson. I mean, you know what I mean? A healthy Ty Robinson's better than those guys, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, yeah. A couple issues I had, like I said, even with Wyatt Millum. I do like Wyatt Millum. There's probably a couple other tackles that were on the board that if we would have went tackle, I would have went in those directions. Aside from that, I don't have an issue with nothing else. I'm cool with the Ty Robinson pick. You talking about 6'6", 310. This provides you something that they don't have on that defensive line. Everybody else is 6'1", 6'2". Yeah, now think about DJ Reader 6'1", Aleem is 6'2.5". Pascal is 6'2", Levi is 6'2", Makai Wingo is 6'1.5", 6'1". Adding a 6'6", 310 Ty Robinson with that type of length, like he's built like JJ Watt, and you look at the
yeah.
explosiveness, everything he showed at the combine also shows up on tape. I think he's a very underrated player. We got a couple. Well, if you think about it, we can label this the underrated draft, aside from James Pierce, because Torrey Horton, you and I agree. Some people in the comment section agree that Torrey Horton is really underrated. Ty Robinson really underrated. Miles Frazier can play three different positions on the offensive line at 6'5", 325. He's very underrated. Nick Martin, another underrated player coming out of Oklahoma State, a school that they're very familiar with. And then Seth Hennigan of Memphis, a guy who
Mm-hmm.
threw the ball a ton, another super senior that played a ton, played some real good competition. 65% average completion percentage for a guy that throws the ball as much as he does, and he was 10th in the country in downfield yards. So for a guy to be 10th in the country in downfield yards and still average 65 to 66% completion percentage, I think is pretty good. And you can never have too many corners, man. Raw Detroit says, "What up, Raw? Robinson gives you size, girth at the position. Damn right. And
Mm-hmm.
athleticism and explosiveness, and a guy that gets after the quarterback like his hair is on fire."
Mm-hmm.
Raw Detroit also says, "Don't worry, Brad has 100 cornerbacks on speed dial." Get Dre Bly on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So we
Yeah.
agree. I think this right here, the next draft is gonna probably look completely different, but I think this right here is a pretty solid draft overall. Added to what we already have, coming back from injury, the guys that we already added in free agency. I think this would be a pretty solid draft. I don't like the fact that we didn't get a safety. Like you said, we didn't get anybody in the secondary. We didn't get a safety and we didn't get a corner, but we did help out our offensive line. We helped out the defensive line, and we for damn sure helped out the pass rush with James Pierce. And we also got us another explosive pair of young legs in Torrey Horton, somebody that's 6'3", borderline 200 pounds, that can do everything that you need him to do as far as a prototypical X. He played outside at Colorado State. He played inside in the slot. They gave him, and this is the thing about Colorado State. If I was a big time weapon, I would love to go there because they going to extort you, boy. People
Mm-hmm.
forget when Trey McBride, Arizona Cardinals tight end. I love Trey McBride when he was coming out. When Trey McBride was there, they used the hell out of Trey McBride. And then as soon as Trey McBride left for the NFL, Horton stepped up. They used the hell out of Horton. So they gonna for damn sure force feed you the ball. But you talking about deep posts, you talking about corners, you talking about slants, you talking about deep outs, you talking about the comebacks, curls, end arounds. Put the ball in his hands, give him the ball in space. He's gonna make the first dude miss for sure. I think he's a third down guy that Jared Goff is gonna love. So
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
may say wide receiver, oh, that y'all took a wide receiver. That doesn't make sense. It makes sense when you look at how Washington defended us in the playoffs. All I saw was, okay, so it's obvious that when certain teams get over on us defensively, they know exactly what Amon-Ra St. Brown's route tree is. They shut down the rubs. They shut down all the mesh. And then it kind of renders St. Brown irrelevant because St. Brown isn't going to really attack you vertically. So all you have to do when you're defending him is sit basically from 10 to 20 yards and stop everything underneath from him. They already know if we're going to get Jamo the ball, it's going to either be on a gadget play or a post. That's too damn easy to defend. So we need a third guy that can do all the other things that those two guys aren't really that good at. Raw Detroit says, bring back Jeff Okuda. You know, I've been hearing fans ask for that shit. He's on the Vikings.
He went to Minnesota, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So, let's bring this back and bring up this snazzy overlay that took me a couple hours to put together because I love y'all so much. So, Mock Draft 1.0 is now in the books. Want everybody to let us know in the comments section what y'all think about it. But must believe we took y'all input in completely. I want to thank Raw Detroit for joining us tonight, man. Really appreciate you and your input. The draft is officially 5 weeks away? 5 or 6 weeks away?
Yeah. Yep. What is it, April 24th to 26th is in Green Bay this year. So, you know what I mean? That brings some more umph to it. You know, usually it seems like the home host team always does something unexpected, you know what I'm saying, to get the crowd livened up. So, you know, look for it. You know what I mean? As far as I think it's going to be chaos, man, in the first round. I really do. I think that this is such an unknown because the quarterbacks are so unknown. Unless somebody out there that somebody like, you know, uh, that they're not really saying they holding it close to the vest. You know, maybe somebody really likes I'm about to say Jeff Okuda on my mind right now. If somebody really likes Shador Sanders or Cam Ward or Quinn Ewers, or you know what I'm saying, is somebody gonna, you know, pull a next Christian Ponder and draft one of these guys, you know, in the first 10 picks and
EJ
ruin the whole
Manuel.
first round? Yeah, EJ Manuel, right? So Mitch Trubisky type situation. So yeah, I like all my guys, man, that I got on my board here. You know, Nick Martin, Demetrius Knight. I'm still kicking myself because I think he's such a good play. He's such a good linebacker, man. He's such a good linebacker. And I think that, you know, to be able to get a mean guy, nasty guy like him, you know, just to go with, just think about it, because I think Avery even said it on a podcast, on a Spirit Trade podcast. He said we got 4 starters and basically a bunch of role players, and he's right. I mean, that's the only way to look at it and think. Like, people got to think like what we have already, but you got to build around those guys. You want to build around Brian Branch. What's the best thing to build around Brian Branch? Is a guy that's a space eater like Ty Robinson. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect for his skill set. You know what I'm saying? What's the best guy to complement, you know, you know, a straight run inline path to the quarterback like James Pierce could provide, you know, on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson? That'd be nasty, man. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's about
I
thinking
think
about how one helps
linebackers
everything.
is, yeah. And so I'm sorry. Well, I
Oh,
think
you good.
linebacker more so. I want the speed at that spot. You know what I'm saying? I want the speed more than anything. That's why I like Mike Knight. That's why I like Nicholas Martin so good, so well. And he didn't really catch my eye during game time, but I think that was a situation where I think he made a little bit of money for himself at the combine for his performance, man. I think his individual drills, people see that he can get out of his breaks pretty quick. You know, he does. I think the 40 time helped him, you know what I mean? Even though he may be a 4th or 5th round, I didn't have him, like, I think we got him in the 6th round, I think it was, Nick Martin, but I think he may be a little bit better. Better. I mean, he may be drafted sooner than 6th round. I'd be shocked if Nick Martin doesn't go in the first 4 rounds of this draft. So, you know, we'll see. I mean, people drop down the whole every draft. It's a lot of guys. You like, damn, this guy was here. You know, this guy didn't get
Definitely.
drafted, you know, at all. So Yeah. This is 1.0. The next week, you want to do,
I
in
would
a
say we
week.
probably give it a couple weeks.
Yeah, and then we
Come
do our
back.
2.0. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Another reason I was pushing for safety so much in this draft, especially, well, mainly Nick Imiura of South Carolina, is the fact that, like I said, for a team that played with safety almost 90% of, well, three safeties almost 90% of the time, he's kind of a souped up version of what we wanted Ifeatu Melifonwu to be. He's a bigger, more physical, better ball skill, more athletic version of him. And you and I have complained about the cornerback position for so long here. Adding that third playmaking safety right along with Kirby, somebody else I think that can play, somebody that can completely help shut down the back end right along with Kirby. That would allow us to take Brian Branch and move him back to nickel, which would upgrade our cornerback room. So now you would have a situation where, okay, your starters more than likely are going to be DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold. And then you let everybody else fight it out from there. A Meek may not be ready until they said around the same time Aleem McNeil may be back. So you're going to need Branch more than likely to play a little bit more corner this year, a little bit more nickel. And I'm a big Nick Imiura fan for South Carolina, bro. I already told you,
Hmm.
watching him play last season and this past season, dude looks so much like Sean Taylor to me. It's crazy. And I'm saying, not saying he's Sean Taylor in the box,
No.
but the athlete that Sean Taylor was on the back end, I think Nick's gonna be special, bro. And everything I hear about Nick coming from South Carolina, that he's a great kid. Everybody said about him in all the interviews that he interviewed well. He's a great kid on and off the field. He eats, sleeps, and breathes football. And you know they love that here. Now, I'm not saying to take a safety at 28, but if
Hmm.
Nick was there at 60, I would have had a hard time passing on Nick Imiura at 60, because taking Nick, and the reason we talk about these other positions is because one position helps everything else out. It's a funnel. Having another dynamite safety allows us, like I said, to take Brian Branch and help out the cornerback room. Because
Hmm.
Brian Branch might be our best corner, but
Yeah.
he's our safety. So,
Right.
just thinking about the trickle down effect of where it could help, being able to have Brian Branch, having another safety back there, because we talked about Malachi Starks as well. Having another safety on the back end, a versatile safety, fast, athletic safety like Kirby. Now we can take Brian Branch. We can play Brian close to the line of scrimmage now, closer. We can blitz him more. He can play more in the box. He loves to play downfield. He's a short tackler. He likes to blow things up. He's damn near Brian Dawkins' clone. And I've been saying that for the past couple years. If we get the right pieces around Brian Branch, we can unlock his Brian Dawkins the way the Philadelphia Eagles did back in the day. Might be date myself, but people who was alive back then in the early 90s,
Hmm.
Brian Dawkins, Bobby Taylor, Troy Vincent, Hugh Douglas, all of those defensive linemen they had, as talented as Brian Dawkins was, Brian Dawkins had a ton of protection around him that allowed him to freelance and be who he was and be that instinctful, impactful safety that he was, the X factor. So you hit the nail on the head, what you said a few minutes ago. We're thinking about building a team that's going to accent everything we already have.
Hmm.
The Brian Branches of the world, the Kirby Josephs, the Aiden Hutchinsons when they come back, the Aleem McNeils.
Yeah.
So overall, I think we had a pretty good draft. Anything you want to say to these people before we get up out of here?
No, I mean, we'll be back this week, obviously, with some more. I think we should maybe dive into, free agency one last time, maybe go a trip around the league, you know what I mean, and document, or maybe what we'll do this, maybe our division, you know what I mean, kind of look at all the free agent acquisitions within our division, and kind of line it up, put it on the tee for everybody, you know what I'm saying? It's before the draft, just rate Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, obviously those teams in our division. So it'd be good to have a good, healthy conversation about those teams as well.
Definitely. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
Tremendously.
y'all,
We
man.
appreciate each and every one of y'all.
Yeah.
Make sure, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We need it. We appreciate it. Till next time, enjoy y'all evening. It's One Pride.